All right, next up is a finish schedule. So to understand how to fill out a finish schedule, you need to understand what we're scheduling. It's not as obvious as a door or window schedule. It was easy to say on the door schedule, what we're scheduling, what we're listing in the rows are all the doors. On the window schedule, it's straightforward. On all the rows, we're just listing the windows in the project. But in a finish schedule, what are you actually trying to list as each row? So if you remember when we put in rooms, rooms are actual objects, 3D objects in Revit, and they have their own properties. So what we're actually scheduling when we're doing the finish schedule is we're scheduling each row is going to be a room, and each column is going to be the finish inside that room. So what we're actually creating, we call it a finish schedule, but what we're really creating is a room schedule. And that room schedule will display the finishes. So with that in mind, you probably could create this if I just shut the video off now. If you created these first two schedules, you could probably figure out how to create a finish schedule. Okay, but the first thing we're going to do is we've been putting these schedules on the floor plan because that's where we tag the different doors and windows. But for a finish schedule, that would be more appropriate to put on our finish or our furnishings plan. So let's do that. Let's open up our furnishings plan. And this is where we're going to put the finish schedule because this plan is trying to convey our finishes. And the floor plan is taking care of other things. So let me just clean this up real quick. This is a habit. The first thing I do when I see a floor plan, I automatically, things that cross over other things automatically catch my eye and they disturb me. So it's like a habit. So I had to move that label or I'd go crazy. Okay, so let's click in here. And right now it's hard to select the rooms because they're not visible. So let's also open our working plan. I created a working floor plan. And in that working floor plan, I turned on the rooms. So it's easy for me to see a room. And another thing that helps us select the room, because right now when I'm clicking, it automatically wants to grab the floor. So if you remember, we can come down here and we can turn off selection by face. So I'm going to turn that off. So now you have to hit the edge of the floor in order to select the floor. And then it makes it easier for me to hover over my X for the room. And now I can select my room. So let's just click the living room. If I click the living room, let's look at what properties there are. If I look over here at the instance properties, I can see there's comments, there's the occupancy. We use that a lot in commercial. You don't need to use it for residential. Department's another thing we use. But you can see there's a base finish, a ceiling finish, a wall finish, a floor finish. So those are the parameters we're going to use in our schedule. Base finish, ceiling finish, wall finish, floor finish. And we can fill these in. So I'm just in the living room. What did we pick for the living room? I don't even remember. Oh, we're not showing the floor patterns. So let's go to our visibility graphics dialog box. Let's go to the floors and see what's going on. So we overrode the floors. Let's take that off. Let's clear those and click OK and OK. And now our patterns come back and it's easier. So in the living room, I'm going to click the living room. I'm going to go over here and for the floor finish, I'm going to put carpet. And then the wall finish, I'll just say paint white. And the ceiling finish is also going to be paint. And let's keep it white. Let's see here. Paint :white is how I'm going to format mine. And then the base, let's do a 6-inch base here. 6-inch, and then we'll do paint white. So if you wanted to 2-tone the house or 3-tone the house, you could. Instead of putting white paint here, maybe you want the wall to be, you could put in the exact Sherwin-Williams color if you wanted. So you can really put in anything you want here to describe to the contractor what you intend to put in that room. So we're going to click out of there. And now you can see if you click back on it, it saved all your values. And then likewise in the bathroom, we could click on that and the finished floor could be 12 inch by 24 inch tile. And you can put as much detail in as you want. You could just leave it at that, or you could put ceramic tile, you could put porcelain tile, you could put the name of the color, whatever you want. So I'm just going to leave it at 12 by 24 tile. Wall finish will be paint again, white. Ceiling finish, again, paint, white. And then the base will be 6 inches again. Let's do 6 inch, but this time let's put a tile base. So 6 inch tile. Then we could do the same thing with all of the rooms. So you could go in and fill out all of the rooms if you want here, or we can make the schedule first and we can fill it in using the schedule. Either way. So let's look at how we do that. Let's close our other views. Let's just keep our working floor plan open. And then let's go to view, and we're going to create a schedule just like we have before. And we are going to pick the category of what we're going to try to schedule. And I explained before, what we're trying to schedule are rooms. So we'll go down here and we'll pick rooms, and we'll retitle this room schedule. Or no, sorry, we're going to name it finish schedule. Click OK, and it's going to, then we have to pick our columns. So in a finished schedule, we really want the room name first, probably. So let's do name. And then maybe we want the area. And then we want to start listing the finishes. So we'll go to ceiling finish. We can put in, we'll probably want comments in there somewhere. You could put the level of the room if you wanted. We want the wall finish. What are we missing? Base finish. So we've got ceiling, wall, base, floor. We need the floor finish. Why am I not seeing the floor finish? Am I blind? It's right there, right in front of my face. Okay, floor finish. So now we want to reorder these correctly. So we want name, area, then I like to start at the bottom of the room. So we'll highlight floor finish and push it up the list. Floor, then base, then wall, then ceiling finish, then comments. How about that? So that'll be the order of our columns, and we'll click OK. Now, I forgot to point this out when we were building the other schedules, but if you'd like to change the order of the columns, you can always go back and change that. If you go into the properties over here where it says fields, you can click edit, and you can always rearrange them. You can get back to where we were and rearrange them. You can remove columns. If we didn't want the comments, we could take those back out, or we can put them back in. And it's just like everything else. You can always change your filters, your sorting, all of that can be changed by just coming back into the schedule properties. So we'll click OK. And you can see the rooms where I already filled out the information, you can see they're already filled out in the schedule. So like I said, you can go in to the main floor plan and you can click on each room and you can fill it out over here in the properties panel, or I could come to the bedroom and I could just say carpet. And since I already entered it once, it'll be in the drop down, and the finish would be 6-inch painted baseboard. The wall will be white, the ceiling will be white, and there's no comments. Or maybe I say, maybe there's something else like I want to put in the bedroom. I could make a note about the walls, or maybe you want this room to be satin instead of, matte paint. But that's generally how you'll do it. So now, if I go back to the working floor plan and I click on the bedroom, you can see it's also filled out over here in the properties. So again, this is just to point out that a room is a system family, right? So it's a family, and the families are linked to the tags. The families are linked to the schedules. Everything's linked together in Revit. So I could also, this is an advanced skill, but if you remember if you go to my room tags display the finishes for the room. So I made my own room tag that's customized, and it goes in and it looks at the room's properties and displays them as part of the tag. You could also do that here. If we modified this room tag to show those properties, they would show here in the room. And so on your finished floor plan, you could have it not only in your schedule, but you could also, let's go to the furnishings plan. You could also change your tag to also show the finishes in the room like I did. So maybe I'll do that for extra credit for this module. I can show you how to edit the family, but it's not an essential skill for this class because it's a little bit advanced. All right, so now let's go find our finish schedule and let's drag it onto our furnishings plan. And we could just put it up here in the corner. And so now when the contractor is looking at the furnishings plan, he can see the furniture, he can see the rooms, he can see where to look for the enlarged plans, and he can go up here and he can read what the finishes are for each room. And again, you can type in here whatever you want. And like this column looks like it's a little crammed. This is another thing I haven't taught you before. You can always come up here and get these little arrows. And if you want to make a column bigger, you can make the columns bigger. So if you want to type out a long thing for each room, you can be as detailed or as non-detailed as you want. In my floor plans, I use abbreviations in the schedule, and then I put a legend. I create a legend over to the side that's just text that shows the abbreviation and then what it means. I give the long form because sometimes I'll just write carpet 1 or carpet 2 or carpet 3 because maybe each room that has carpet has a different carpet. So I just put carpet 1, carpet 2, carpet 3 over here in the schedule, and then I make a legend. Carpet 1 is, and then I specify the exact color, how I want it laid, what brand, what manufacturer it is. I list all of that in the legend so that I don't have to write it all out again and again in the schedule. You just write it once in the legend. So you can also go that approach if you'd like. Let me show you. You see that that's how I did it here. And even this is kind of generic. Once the house starts to get built and the owner makes the selections, I sometimes come in here and edit it with the exact colors. So right now I'm just saying there's color 1 and color 2 on the wall so that I can have a main color for the house. And then if I want accents, I can do that. But then later, instead of color 1, I'll come in and I'll type in what the exact color is once the owner has picked it. Because sometimes when you're first designing it, you want an accent wall, but you don't know the exact color. And you don't want to wait for the owner to make decisions. So you just write out that it's a second color. And then later you can come in and you can tell the contractor, oh, color 2 is this, or color 1 is this. Okay, so that's all there is to making a finish schedule.